Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the video game. Before you see the movie, live it. Rated T for teen.
Believe it or not, it's been 20 years since it first released, so is it worth playing in 2025? That's a question I'll answer in this video based off when I played through the game recently. If you like this type of content, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel to see more. Now, let's begin. The Revenge of the Sith game first released exactly 2 weeks before the film itself on the 5th of May 2005 for the PlayStation 2, original Xbox, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS and Symbian OS, an operating system which was used by well-known smartphone brands such as Samsung, Motorola, Sony Ericsson and Nokia. Nearly 10 years later, the PS2 version was re-released digitally on the PlayStation Network for the PS3 on the 11th of February 2015 in Europe and the 28th of April 2015 in North America, thanks to the PlayStation Classics program. In addition, Revenge of the Sith is one of the more than 400 games that are backwards compatible with the Xbox 360, while it can also be played on the Xbox One and Series consoles. If you want to play on the One and Series consoles, you can either use the disc for the original Xbox or buy the digital version from the Xbox store. By the way, I'll only talk about the PS2/original Xbox version of the game in this video, as it is the only version I've played. Appropriately, this was the final tie-in game to release before the Star Wars saga's final chapter at the time, Revenge of the Sith, which makes sense considering this is the video game adaptation of the film itself. Revenge of the Sith's single-player campaign consists of 17 missions spanning the entire film. Across all of these missions, you play as Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which makes sense due to the film primarily focusing on these two characters. It's worth noting that you only play as one of these characters in each mission, so there is no point where you switch to the other character mid-level. On the website How Long to Beat, the main story is estimated to take an average of 4.5 hours to complete, while a leisurely playthrough averages at nearly 6.5 hours. It took me more than 8 hours to complete the main story, and there are a few different factors which caused this that I'll go into at the end of the video. I played through the story missions on the default difficulty of medium, and it was a difficult experience. What was interesting about this game, and LEGO Star Wars the video game, was that it released before the film, and the campaign pretty much follows the story of the film with some creative liberties here and there, due to it being a video game. As was the case with several film tie-in games in this era, many of this game's single-player campaign levels contain actual footage from Revenge of the Sith, allowing anyone who bought and played the game before the film came out to see clips from Revenge of the Sith before they watched the film at the cinema, which is cool, and also an effective way to drum up excitement for the film. Revenge of the Sith is a third-person action-adventure hack-and-slash game where the weapons in your arsenal are a lightsaber and force powers. Before I talk about anything else, I will say that this game has some of the best lightsaber combat of any Star Wars game. It's honestly top-notch in terms of the lightsaber movement animations, which allow you to perform a wealth of combos and can make for extremely satisfying lightsaber duels. Most of the levels consist of making your way to the end by fighting a variety of enemies, including new enemy types created for the game, interacting with control panels to open doors, throwing your lightsaber to overcome obstacles in your path, or cutting through doors with it. While the majority of the levels are like this with the odd boss fight here and there are a number of levels specifically dedicated to a boss fight where the only objective is to defeat the boss. You start in one area, and once you've depleted the boss's health to a certain amount, a cutscene triggers before you continue the fight in another area. You can earn experience or XP in each level, and when you complete the level, you are greeted with a mission rewards screen showing how much experience you gained, the number of times you received a fair, good, impressive and or masterful rating, and how many secrets you found. You earn the ratings based on your combat performance. Achieving a higher rating will increase the amount of experience gained. In terms of secrets, there are usually at least 2 to be found in each level. These secrets increase your maximum health, force, or can be a lightsaber crystal which allows you to deal more damage for a short period. Apart from its single-player story missions, the Revenge of the Sith game incorporates several other modes, consisting of bonus missions, cooperative missions, and a versus mode. The bonus missions can only be played in single-player, while the cooperative missions require 2 controllers to be connected. I admit I don't remember playing much of the cooperative mode, as I mostly played this game by myself as a kid and when I replayed it earlier this year. On the other hand, while the versus mode is contained within the multiplayer arm of the game, allowing you to play as most of the characters you control in the story and bonus missions, once you've unlocked them, you can play it on your own by dueling the computer. Therefore, you are not required to duel another person to enjoy it, unlike some games that offer a versus mode as an additional feature. You can spend a lot of time messing around in this mode, and it's definitely a highlight of the game. The bonus missions even let you play as more characters, as opposed to simply 2 in the story missions. Frankly, all the extra modes are fun, which you can't say for some games. The soundtrack of this game is an interesting case because while it predominantly consists of John Williams music from the original Star Wars saga, except for Revenge of the Sith itself due to the game releasing before the film and its soundtrack, there's one story mission as well as the Versus mode which play a few tracks from a Star Wars game that came out only several months before, Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords. I think the tracks they use work perfectly fine in the chosen scenarios. Even though no original music was composed for the game, an unfortunate but understandable situation because this is just a film tie-in game that doesn't have an original story, the existing music that was used is a delight to hear regardless. Before we conclude the video, there's one last aspect of the game I haven't told you about, the features, known as extras in many other games. Here, you can uncover concept art, rewatch any of the cutscenes for each level, and you can watch the credits. One of the rewards you can earn when you complete a story mission, for example, is concept art, and there's plenty of it, that's for certain. It took me over 15 minutes to have a good look at all of it, and there are some fascinating discoveries. If I was nitpicking, I would have liked to see at least one behind the scenes video, as we do get some of these in other video games that came out during this era. Is Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith worth playing in 2025? Personally, I think so. If you're a Star Wars fan, this game is well worth trying, especially if you're a fan of the film. If you're not a Star Wars fanatic, you might still enjoy the game if you like playing third-person action-adventure games. It also provides a suitable challenge on the default difficulty of medium. For your first playthrough, I would recommend easy or medium. If you want to know how I played the game this time around, I instead played it on my gaming laptop through emulation by running my PS2 copy on the PCSX2 emulator, which you can download for free on Windows, Linux and Mac OS. This was a very enjoyable way to re-experience one of my favourite childhood games. Furthermore, you can easily download and install user-created patches on the emulator as a way of modernising your experience. I used the widescreen 16:9 and 50/60 FPS patches. Playing the game at my native resolution of 1080p really made a difference too. I think the game graphically holds up reasonably well when upscaled, with a lot of the textures still looking fine. As my PS2 copy is the PAL version, it only runs at 50 FPS with a patch and doesn't happen to be in the list of PAL games with a 60Hz mode. In spite of this, playing the game at 50 FPS felt very smooth after always playing the game at what was probably 25 FPS on the PS2. There were hardly any performance hitches either, which made this a great game to emulate. However, there was one annoying problem I encountered. There were occasions in which I died and continued a mission from the last save checkpoint where the 50 FPS patch would stop working when I restarted from the checkpoint. This only seemed to happen if there was a loading screen first. Otherwise, if I restarted from the checkpoint or the entire mission and there was a cutscene first, I'd let it play without triggering a loading screen, and the 50 FPS patch would still work in-game. Due to dying many times, I had to keep closing and reopening the game when this happened, or restarting a level from the beginning, which was quite frustrating. A modern feature of PCSX2 I didn't take advantage of till one of the later story missions were save states. This feature allows you to save at any point in the game and resume from there. Initially I didn't want to do this because I wanted the PS2 experience, but it got to the point where using save states was necessary in large part due to being a way to work around the issue of the 50 FPS patch not working after a loading screen. PCSX2 also supports a variety of controllers, so I was able to play using my DualSense controller, allowing you to effectively play the game with the controller of your choice, rather than being limited to the DualShock 2. If you don't want to emulate Revenge of the Sith, the best way to play the home console version would be on the Xbox Series X or S through backwards compatibility. The game supports resolutions up to 4K with Auto HDR, but it can only be played in 4:3 at 30 FPS. In conclusion, I can absolutely recommend Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith if you want a fun time slicing and dicing through enemies and participating in numerous lightsaber duels. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a like if you did and subscribe to see more content like this. Enjoy the rest of your day, and that is all.